Imagine building your entire life in America and then being told you don't belong here.
When you wake up and find out your temporary status is gone.
Trump administration is ending the temporary protected status of Somali migrants. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem telling Fox News, temporary means temporary.
Yep. That's the definition.
Country conditions in Somalia have improved to the point that it no longer meets the law's requirement for temporary protected status.
Which means you good, boo. You can go home.
Further, allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is contrary to our national interests. We are putting Americans first.
We got till March 17th to get the heck out, but I love how little mama says, oh, no. He doesn't have the power to do that. Well, people think that Trump can't make a call or two before he gets on social media. Yo, I'm just calling to make sure that I can remove this temporary status bullshit real quick before I post this. Yeah? Okay, cool. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, a bill was introduced like a week ago to get these MFs out.
Today, you introduced a bill that would terminate temporary protected status for people from Somalia.
Somalia and also 17 other countries that have people that are here illegally, that have no business being in this country at all, that want to see harm done to my fellow Americans. And what prompted this was the complete derelict of duty that we saw from Governor Walz and what happened in Minnesota. These people, according to my bill, will now have about 180 days to self-deport, and that goes with them and everyone else from the other 17 countries.
Duh. Like, why would you have a law that says you cannot be an illegal immigrant and your punishment is deportation, and then have a law that protects illegal immigrants from deportation? What Democrat wrote this bullshit?
That is the reality affecting thousands of Somali families right now. If TPS ends, this isn't about paperwork.
The actual victims of this fraud are probably actually Somali families.
I think
I don't know about
victims
that. Yes.
are taxpayers.
Taxpayers
victims
lost $9
are
billion.
people who
Somalis are taxpayers.
They're
Hold on.
they are announced.
Yes, they are.
I want to get into data.
Hold on.
Yes, they are.
80% of them are on welfare.
They pay state, local, and sales taxes.
They get it all back with their welfare payments. They're not
They get it all
taxpayers.
back.
Wait, hold on.
It is about losing everything.
Trump just ended temporary protective services for Somalis. Here's everything you need to know. They've had it since 1991. They got it because either there was war there or there was famine, and that allowed them to come here, and they've been protected since 1991. By Trump ending it by March 17, they have to either already be gone by then or they're up for deportation. They could try to opt into different programs if they have any criminal background. That's going to be hard to do. It's important to also identify that they can still come, Somalis, that is, if they're sponsored by a family member, and there's a few other programs, but this limits how many of them can actually come now. It really only affects areas like Minnesota where there's a bigger population of them. But again, it's only, with estimates, 750 to 2,500 people who have actually lost temporary protective services. So it's not a huge number like it was with the Venezuelans. And who else did he end? I think it was the Colombians.
Past 30 years, Somalis have been under TPS, temporary protected status in America. Now, usually you only give TPS to some after an earthquake or a tsunami because you can't immediately send them back home to their country. In this case, Somalis just don't want to be sent back home. Somalia is obviously in Africa. It's a third world country. It's a mess because they can't figure out how to govern themselves. But it's not undergoing a natural disaster, so why are they not being sent home? Lord only knows, but after 30 years, President Trump is finally doing away with that policy. He's ended TPS for Somalis. And I would just love for them to stay forever, except the problem is that this group is not assimilated. They view themselves as separate people. They're police officers, they're local leaders, they're news people. They all speak Somali. They do not respect native-born Americans, and in fact, they refer to their white police officers as foreigners. They have ubiquitous control over law enforcement in Dearborn and Minneapolis.
For years, Somali families have built their lives in the United States. They worked, raised children, and put down roots. Now, one police decision could take all that away. That is what handing temporary status really means.
Congressman, can you tell us your reaction to DHS ending the TPS status for Somalis, for Somalia? What's your opinion on it? Do you think it was a good idea to do that?
So that was Representative Ilhan Omar in Minnesota, the big fraud the Somalians are doing. And then you expect people to feel sympathy for you all because Donald Trump has removed y'all TPS. So what happens with that is that when your temporary protective status is removed, you automatically go back to the status that you had in the beginning before you got here. So I'm pretty much going to see, you all are going to see a lot of Somalians be sent back, but do you all blame him? Y'all came over here to this country and y'all defrauded this country. And now y'all want us to feel sorry for y'all because y'all got to go back and take y'all asses back over there to y'all shit? No, we're just letting you all know that America's not having it.
When people hear temporarily protected status, it sounds technical, bureaucratic, distant. But TPS isn't just a legal category. For Somali families, it is the difference between stability and survival.
Abdi here is the owner of Somali Cafe in St. Cloud, and he's always having his passport with him now because of the surge of ICE here in the St. Cloud community.
TPS was created to protect people from being sent back to countries facing extreme danger. That is war, instability, and humanitarian crisis. For many Somalis in the United States, TPS has allowed them to live legally, work legally, and raise American children.
I hate that I will never experience the happiness that Somali haters experienced when they actually thought the TPS program affected more than 9 Somalis. Like, they really thought that was it. All the Somalis are just going to disappear. Poof, all of a sudden, no Somalis. Cedar Riverside is Mexican neighborhood now, or maybe not even a Mexican neighborhood. But yeah, it would likely just go become a Mexican neighborhood. Yeah, and then of course Somalis have to be buzzkills by informing them of how many people that shit actually affects. You should have just let them be happy, Hey, how about this? You pretend to deport us and we pretend to be deported. Deal? Once again, for those who don't know, Somalis came to America in one big lump sum. Now, we came all at once in the late 90s, early 2000s. By the 2010s, 90% of us were citizens, and by the 2020s, 99% of us were citizens. The immigration process has nothing to do with us anymore. Right? It's done. It's ball game. You might have had something back in 2005, but it's 20 years too late. I promise you, the Trump administration tried to look at ways to deport us and found out they genuinely had nothing. Like, it's decades too late.
They should have come here legally then. Well, what do you say now that they are literally taking away the naturalization and taking away work permits and citizenship from Somalians on March 17th? Ones that have already been here, that are in the TPS protection program. We are now just backtracking and changing all the rules, and all of a sudden they don't count anymore? That they're not citizens anymore? We're not going to protect them anymore? What's your excuse now? Because these people did it legally. These people did it the right way, like you want everyone to do. So what's your excuse now? Somali is a better country now, so they need to go back home. Really? Because there's a travel advisory out and has been out for years. Many of these people have been in America for the past 34 years since we enacted this program in 1991. Many of them had their children here. These people aren't even from Somalia. Their children aren't. What are they going to go home to? Many of them don't have anything to go home to.
So here is what Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman from Minnesota, said during an interview with regard to this temporarily protected status issue.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive. Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation. So not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
Let's also hear from what the protesters who are protesting against ICE deporting the illegal immigrants, they had to say when they were asked about temporary protected status being removed from the Somalis.
How do you feel about the Somali fraud in Minneapolis?
I'll be honest, I haven't researched it a lot, but from what it looks like to me is it looks like it's a made-up concept from people trying to smear Governor Walz.
I checked into that a little bit, right? There's nothing going on there. There's like this edgelord going around stirring up his mega conservative base. But none of this stuff is rooted in truth and reality. And I think if you just go out, do your own research, like actually do that. Like go and just like look at video evidence, come to a realistic opinion about what's going on in the world. It's a scapegoat, right, for anti-Somali immigration hate.
I don't know much about the Somali fraud. Sounds like bullshit.
So there's a question as to whether it is a fraud. I don't know. I'm not following that real closely. So I will reserve judgment on that.
I mean, I think that they were just using this as an excuse to go in there and scare people and show that they can be really powerful. I don't think it's authentic at all.
This is ridiculous that y'all are here at a protest, and when asked about the Somalian fraud, you guys have no fucking idea but still come up with lies and bullshit. The first lady said, oh, I don't know much about it, but I think it is just some fake shit that they're trying to use to smear Governor Tim Walz. The other dude said, I looked into it and I didn't see anything on it. I think it's like, are you fucking kidding me? You looked into what? 2 seconds of research would have told you something about it. It's so funny when people like that say, do your research, look into it, watch video evidence, and come up with your own conclusions. So even when you found and saw proof that people have already been arrested for it, it still was fraud. It's still fake. It's still not true. It's just a made up story so that they can attack the Somalian community. So you don't truly give a fuck that billions of dollars in fraud has been committed and your money, your tax dollars were invested in that? 98 individuals have so far been charged, and 85 of those charged were of Somalian descent. 37 defendants have already pled guilty. 37 people have pled guilty to it, and you're still calling it fake? They were stealing millions from federal child nutrition programs in the Somalian community in Minnesota. And y'all don't give a fuck or even want to know what's really happening. But I thought you cared about the kids. I thought you cared about your tax dollars until it ends up being an immigrant Somalian group that's stealing your tax dollars and stealing money from child programs. That's when you don't care. That's when you turn a blind eye and refuse not to look because they're immigrants. So I don't even want to know if they committed fraud. I don't even want to know if they're fucking us over. Because I must stand for my agenda, stupid asses. That's billions of dollars that could have been put back into the Minneapolis, Minnesota communities. Billions of dollars that could have helped that fucking state and the cities in it. Billions of dollars stolen from one community that could have helped so many other fucking people, and you don't give a fuck?
We are not talking about a small group of people living on the margins. We are talking about parents, homeowners, workers, students, and even kids at school. Many of these families have lived here for decades. Some of their children have never even been to Somalia. America isn't a stop along the way, it is home. If TPS ends, legal status doesn't slowly fade away, it ends. That means people lose their right to work, the right to renew licenses, the protection from deportation. Families don't just face removal, they face poverty almost overnight. And that is even before we talk about separation. Some family members are US citizens, others aren't. Ending TPS can mean impossible choices, that is leaving children behind or take them to a country they don't know. This isn't hypothetical. This has happened before. Somalia continues to face instability, limited infrastructure, and serious security concerns. So sending families into a reset, it is a collapse, especially for children raised entirely in the United States. This doesn't just affect Somali families, it affects communities, small businesses, and neighborhoods. TPS holders, they work essential jobs, they pay taxes, and they contribute. When they are forced out, local economies feel it. This is why the conversation matters beyond politics. TPS often get pulled into political talking points, but behind every headline is a family doing the best to survive. So no matter where you stand politically, the human cost is real. Decisions about TPS don't just happen in a vacuum. They happen quietly until families feel the consequences. That's why understanding these now matters. American dreams don't disappear all at once. They are slowly pushed to the brink. And for Somali families, that brink is closer than many people realize. So guys, thank you for watching to this far end. Give your views down in the comment section. Kindly subscribe. See you in the next video.